Hello everyone, I am the world-renowned historian. Now there is a good chance that you believe in some really silly nonsense when it comes to history. That's not your fault, but it's true nonetheless. So let's talk about some of it. It's time for a factoid!
Factoid.
Now, there is a good chance that a good deal of you believe that ancient Romans wore togas most, if not all the time. This is due to a popular misconception, and largely due to Ben-Hur. A little bit to Gladiator. If I said, what's the first thing you think of when you think of ancient Rome, a good deal of you would probably say Julius Caesar, a few of you would probably say a toga. A couple of you might even say a common bathroom sponge. Maybe Hannibal crossing the Alps sitting there, I don't know. And with very good reason. The garment certainly is associated with the people who occupied the Italian peninsula for 1,000 years, to whom we grant the title Ancient Rome. After all, in his magnum opus, the Aeneid, the poet Virgil said that the god Jupiter called the Romans the masters of the world, the wearers of togas. Of course, as with anything over a time scale of centuries, things done change. The toga began in the days of the early republic as a sort of functional outdoor garment worn by men, women, and children. As underclothes, they would wear a tunic, which is probably exactly what you're picturing. But by the 2nd century BCE, it was actually illegal for women to wear a toga, except for ladies of the night. Over the years, it became a sort of formal business wear. Think something between like a tux and a business suit. It became bulky and somewhat difficult to maneuver in, as if somehow being unable to do physical labor in it conferred on the wearer like a special status. It was bulky, easily stained, hot, and very heavy due to its wool construction. So both the lack of everyday wear and the importance of its formality are highlighted by an incident with the Roman general Cincinnatus in the mid-5th century BCE. The story goes that Rome had been invaded, and the citizens went back to Cincinnatus's farm to persuade him to come back and lead them. And when they got there, he was in fact out farming. When they explained to him the situation, his first response was to go back inside and get his toga. Not because he intended to fight in it or something, but because he had to address the Senate. Now it seems to me that for most Romans, most prominent Romans, that while it was part of being a good Roman citizen to wear it at the appropriate times, they also tried to avoid it whenever possible. The 2nd century satirist Juvenal informs us that in most of Italy, almost nobody wore a toga except to be buried in. There were in fact laws about when prominent Romans had to wear them. And you have to consider that if they made the law, then somebody had tried to break it or did indeed break it. There were also in fact laws against women wearing too much Chinese silk because that thin fabric led to lascivious corruption or something. Orientalism, everybody! So, if you thought the Romans walked around all day in togas, all day and night, now you know. In a way it makes sense. I mean, would you want to wear that thing? Alright y'all, I am the world-renowned historian, and that's your factoid!
Factoid.
Be good, kiddos. Peace out.